Welcome to today's information session about Freddie Mac's university programs. Today's program is part of our year-long commitment with Freddie Mac to connect HHS' vast network of young professionals and students with personal and professional development in the workforce through internships, mentorships, fellowships, full-time positions, networking, mobilization, and sharing of knowledge. Freddie Mac's internships and graduate programs provide opportunities to take on a variety of challenging roles and make your mark on several projects. We will hear from employees who have firsthand experience building their career at Freddie Mac. Also joining us today, we will have Freddie Mac's talent acquisition team who are ready to answer any of your questions. So please make sure you set your comments in the chat to all audience and not to the default of panelists because we want everyone to hear you. And make sure you submit your questions in the Q&A window found at the bottom of the Zoom bar. Before we hear from our speakers, I would like to remind you all the applications will be opening on August 2nd. Our team will make sure to be in touch with you all with all the confirmed details. Now, it is a pleasure to introduce Aisha James, Business Management Senior of Information Technology at Freddie Mac. Thank you for joining us, Aisha.
Thanks, Jessica, for that great introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Aisha James. Like Jessica mentioned, I'm a business management senior at Freddie Mac, working in what now we call our Enterprise Operations and Technology Group. I'm one of the program leads for our college hire and intern programs. Can you go to the next slide? Thank you. I actually came through a little bit about me. I actually came through the college hire program 7 years ago. So, yes, I've been at Freddie Mac for 7 years this past June. I graduated from Penn State University with a degree in information technology. I was looking for a job where I could learn. Really didn't know what I wanted to do in technology just yet. So I wanted to join a company that would give me the opportunity to learn, try new things. And that's how I came across Freddie Mac and this college hire program. Through this program, I was able to develop into the senior level position I am today. I started off more technical and was able to move over to the business side where I found that that was my niche. And I love Freddie so much for giving me that opportunity. I am also Puerto Rican, so that's why you see the Puerto Rican flag in the corner representing my mother's heritage. So that's a little bit about me. Let me tell you more about the College Hire Intern Program. So like I briefly mentioned about the College Hire Program, it's a 12-month program. That does not mean you're joining a rotation program or anything like that. It's a 12-month program, but look at the program as an umbrella over your first year. So we're helping with the transition from college to corporate. We understand you may not have that much experience with corporate America besides maybe some of your internships that you've had over the summers. So we're really here to be that support system for you. We give you some learning and development opportunities. We help you find a mentor. We also mentor you, me and my team. You join with a cohort of your peers. So you're not joining Freddie Mac alone. You joined with a cohort of 30 to 40 plus. When I came in as a college hire, I had 54 other people joining me at the same time. So friends from day one is what I like to say. And they are still my friends till today. Some of them still at Freddie Mac, some of them have moved on, but we still stay in touch. So you join with that network because we know it can be a little awkward to join a company and be kind of at the youngest and kind of at the lowest point, entry level point of your career. So you have that community since you join. You go through the program with them during that first year, and you all get that same type of level of support. We meet with you all monthly to go over different things that are going on, whether it be talking about benefits or talking about goals or just talking about things that you might have heard around the company. We want to make sure that you get, that best advantage point your first year. We invest in you, like I mentioned. We have a bunch of learning opportunities. There's free resources afforded to you. There's things a part of the program that you get to do. We offer you training. So it's not just a job. We offer you a lot on that first year. Again, we want to help you launch your career in technology and give you the best start to ensure success as you move on. Um, Outside of the college hire program, we also have a intern program. And just like all the great things I mentioned about the college hire program, you get those same things as an intern, but just in a shorter amount of time. So our intern programs run from May to August, about a 10, 11-week program. You still get learning and development opportunities because we want you to leave Freddie Mac with a better understanding of what Freddie Mac is, how we make home possible, and how your 10, 11 weeks contributes to that. You get to take what you learned at school and apply it to real world problems and solutions. You get the opportunity opportunity to work on your AWS cloud certificate, cloud practitioner certification, which is the foundational certification you can get in AWS. It's an optional offering. You do not have to do it if you don't want to, because like I mentioned, there's a lot of other things going on during that summer, but it's an opportunity if you like it, and we would pay for you to take the test. So we offer all the training in-house for free. So we offer the boot camp through one of our training resources, and then we'll pay for you to take the test if you want to do that. Like I mentioned, it's optional. You get the opportunity to work with your fellow interns. So you learn more about the intern program as well as your fellow cohort on a group project, and we split you up so you can meet and mingle with different people. You get assigned a technical mentor to help you work through the group project, so you're not doing it alone. But like I mentioned, it's a lot of fun, a lot of community, either program that you join. At the end of the intern program, our biggest goal is to hopefully let you walk away with an offer. So if you're not graduating just yet, you'll walk away with an offer to potentially come back and join us next summer if you'd like. Obviously, we're not going to force you. Or if you are graduating, a rising senior, and you're going to be graduating either the upcoming December or that upcoming May, walk away with a full-time employment opportunity to come back and join us and join the college hire program. There's many different roles in both of these programs. Our biggest one that we always look for are developers, computer science graduates, but we also look for analysts. We also look for InfoSec people. We also look for systems analysts and all those, any type of job in IT, infrastructure engineer. We look for all those roles across both programs. So if that sounds like something you're interested in and what I said sounds great, please, please, please apply in August when positions open up. Reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have any questions. I'm always here and available to answer those questions for you. Yeah, that's just a little bit about our IT college hire intern program. So without further ado, I'll pass it on to the next speaker. I think it's Alec Vaughn. Yes, take it away, Alec.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for that. Hi, everyone. My name is Alec Vaughn. I graduated from JMU in 2019. So I've been at Freddie Mac here for just a little over 2 years now. I actually just finished up my 2 years in the capital markets and portfolio management rotational program, which is what I'm here to talk with you all about today. To give you guys a bit of an overview of the program, it's basically designed to allow recent college students and graduates like yourself to gain real-world experience, as well as a broad spectrum of exposures across Freddie Mac's capital markets division. The program is a 2-year program, like I said, and it's structured so that you'll rotate through 4 different teams. So every 6 months, you'll rotate through various desks throughout the INCM and single-family divisions. We also offer an internship. It's a 10-week summer internship program. Interns will spend 5 weeks each between our credit risk transfer and our cash window desks. We also kind of view it similar to our IT program. It's like a little mini feeder program to the full-time role. That's how I got my opportunity at Freddie Mac. The internship program looked a little different when I was there, but it's been able to evolve kind of throughout the years to what it is now. So the intern program was really, really great for me. I had an awesome 10 weeks. And I'll speak a little bit more about that towards the end of the slide. So taking a step back, really understanding what capital markets is, essentially what it is, it's the facilitation between those who need capital and those who have capital that they want to earn a return on. So Freddie Mac, we sit pretty much in the middle of all of this. We have a $2 trillion guarantee portfolio, and that makes up $10 trillion. That comprises of about 20% of the $10 trillion mortgage market, making what we do at the company very crucial to supporting the affordability of everyone across the United States owning a home. And the capital markets division is essential to this operation. It's responsible for pricing loans, managing credit risk, interest rate risk, that allows us to kind of oil the mortgage market and keep prices affordable for home buyers. It also operates in our funding and investment operations through our ALM and treasury functions and retained portfolio as well. Some of the benefits from a program like this, obviously there's lots. There's some informal and formal mentorship with senior leadership where you can really kind of learn and sponge information from them. Not only just like going and asking them questions on like more technical aspects, but also just learning and understanding how they make decisions so you can make better decisions. So there's a lot of professional growth through there. Me personally, I've had great relationships with a lot of mentors throughout my time. whether it be through the formalized process where you're assigned a vice president and you meet with them once a month, or just through informal heads of desk and picking their brain on certain issues and kind of getting an understanding of how they think and how they view the mortgage market and Freddie Mac's capital markets. In addition to that, there's also a robust training and vital capital market functions that kind of give you an opportunity to grow your skill set in a field that's very interesting and evolving. Whether that be fixed income valuation, securitization, structuring, trading, more technical side of things, advanced Excel, and then programming languages as well. So SAS, SQL, VBA, Python. These are all really important functions that we have at the company and important tools that we use to make what we do a little bit easier. And so speaking about some of my experiences, like I mentioned before, I joined Freddie Mac as an intern. I was on the credit risk transfer team. The appeal to me was I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. Once my internship was done, I had an opportunity to rotate around and experience different jobs, work styles, paces of work, management styles to see what really worked for me. So kind of having that opportunity to test out a bunch of different opportunities was really great. And ultimately, I kind of decided that that would help narrow down, maybe some of my strengths, some of my weaknesses, and help me kind of figure out where my preferred destination was. So my first rotation, I came on and I joined LPMS full time. Developed a great relationship with the vice president on the desk. She was a JMU alumni. We got to work on lots of cool deals, experience what like a deal environment was looked like, gained a really good understanding of distressed mortgage markets, how to structure credit deals, the whole auctioning process, and built out a lot of great other professional skills. From there, I rotated onto the pricing team. It was this very fast-paced environment, even more so when we were dealing with the pandemic and balancing work from home and whatnot. We had volume spike over 500%, so it was a lot to handle, but I learned I kind of thrived on that kind of fast-paced environment. So harping back onto really understanding and learning from different experiences what best suits you, and that's a huge benefit of this rotational program. And then finally, I rotated onto the counterparty credit risk team. So I've been on this team for about a year now and just accepted the full-time position on the team. So this will be my permanent home. And it was kind of a great fit for me just because I had a background in finance and math and econ, and then a concentration in risk management. I also got my FRM certification, so it was a good opportunity for me to test out, how does risk management work in a large institution like Freddie, and would it be something that I'm interested in? Great for me. I had a very enjoyable experience on the team, came back, and like I said, I just accepted my full-time role here. So overall, I'd say some of the skills that you really pick up here is you really do have a limited time on the team. So you want to be able to figure out like how to add value pretty much from day one. And a lot of analysts have a lot of success with that and have become really important contributors to the overall team. And that spins all the way up to the overall mission of Freddie Mac of making home possible. So I've really enjoyed my experiences here. I highly recommend a program like this to anyone who's passionate about markets, interested in fixed income, and the mortgage space. Feel free to reach out to me if you guys have any questions about what I do or any of the other rotations. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm just at Alec Vaughn, and I'm happy to help answer any questions afterwards. Now I'll turn it over to Laura, and she'll talk a little bit more about our single family program.
Hey everyone, I'm Laura and I work within the Single Family Data and Decisions Division. I've been working here for a little over a year now. I actually started as a college analyst within the Single Family Analyst Cohort program last year, and I graduated from it last month. So that's the program I'll be talking about today. But before I get into the program, just wanted to give a quick introduction. I am a first generation college student, or I was a first generation college student, so I wasn't the first in my family to graduate from college. I attended 2-year community college and then transferred to the University of Maryland College Park to finish my final 2 years, which is where I got my BS in information systems and a minor in technology entrepreneurship. During my journey to getting to Freddie, I was a part of like a bunch of cohort programs in high school and college. So I already knew the benefits to being in a cohort program. So when I saw the opportunity to be a part of this cohort program, I decided to apply, and here I am today. So what is the Single Family Analyst Cohort Program? It's a year-long program that runs from June to June. It's designed to give recent college grads a jumpstart to their career within Freddie Mac and the housing industry. So in this program, you do gain a lot of skills through events and trainings that are held every month. And you also get a lot of networking opportunities with senior leadership. By the end of the program, I really felt transformed. That's the word I would use. So I highly recommend applying to it. Aside from that, it is a cohort program, so you are with a bunch of other new analysts as well and recent college grads. These analysts come from a variety of different backgrounds, so there's really no major requirement. I met analysts who majored in government and politics. I majored in IS, so it's a really diverse group of analysts that you get to meet. These analysts also join different departments and teams within single family. So it's also a great opportunity to learn about how different teams within single family operate and how the different teams and departments impact the overall business of Freddie Mac. So what can you expect out of the program? For those first couple of months, at least in my experience, I did feel like we did have weekly check-ins with the program coordinators. So this was a chance for us to really address any concerns that we had and talk to the program coordinators to see how we were getting acclimated to Freddie Mac and our roles. In addition to that, we also had coffee chats and lunch and learns. These events were held every month, and they were typically with senior leadership. So we had the chance to network and talk to them about their career journey, how they got to Freddie Mac, what they were doing before Freddie Mac, and just really make a connection with them. It's not every day that you get to talk to senior leadership, so we got to talk to the head of the single family division, which was really interesting. The main difference between the coffee chats and the lunch and learns were really the timing. The coffee chats were typically at 9 a.m. where we were sipping our coffee, listening in, and the lunch and learns were around 12 p.m. lunchtime. In addition to that, we had trainings. These trainings covered a wide range of topics. So in the first couple of months, for me, obviously we were learning about Freddie Mac, what does Freddie Mac do, the life of a loan, like the different advisor suites that we use, comparing it to the couple last months of the program where we were learning more about like, okay, well, we've been here for a year already. How do we start this conversation about promotions with our manager, stuff like that. We also had, or trainings like that. We also had talks about like being credit smart, the importance of credit and how important it is when you're buying a house or buying a car. So it was a bunch of trainings that didn't really have like a certain theme. It was just more for your professional and personal growth. And it's important to note that the skills that you gain through these trainings and events aren't just applicable to Freddie, but also to other industries. In addition to like the events and trainings that we had, we also had a mentorship program within the program. So with this, I was part of Cohort 2. So our cohort members were paired up with analysts from the previous cohort. And this was really an opportunity to get to talk to previous analysts who had been through basically what we were going through, being fresh out of college and that transition from college to the workforce. So it's a really good mentorship program that we had. And you also had the opportunity to be mentors for the next program. So this is a great way to gain leadership skills. And even though I've already graduated from the program, I'm still contributing in one way or another and gaining even more skills from it. Overall, my experience within the single family program has been great. Like I mentioned before, I already knew the benefits to being in the cohort program, which is why I accepted the offer for the single family analyst cohort program. And I just can't encourage you all enough to apply because just a great program. You have an amazing support system, not just from the program coordinators, but also from the other analysts. You're not alone in this transition from college into the workforce, which can be really like tricky and overwhelming sometimes, at least it was for me in the beginning, but it feels great knowing you have this support system around you and you're not the only one going through it. That being said, I encourage everyone to apply to the Single Family Analyst Cohort Program. And now I'll pass it off to Joseph. Thank you.
Hey everybody, my name is Joseph Schilling. Thank you so much, Laura, for all of that information. That's fantastic. Well, my name is Joseph Schilling. I went to the University of Texas at Austin. I graduated in 2019 with a degree in economics and finance. And shortly after graduation, did a little bit of venture capital in Austin, and then took the opportunity here at Freddie and moved to the DC area. And yeah, here I am now. I am part of the multifamily. I went through the college hire program as a multifamily analyst. And to give you a little bit of an overview of where multifamily fits in the organization, because Freddie Mac is a pretty big company. So the previous two programs were specifically focused on single family. So the capital markets program that Alec was talking about, and the single family program, obviously from Laura, they fall under the single family umbrella. And multifamily is the second business line for Freddie Mac. So we both focus on single family homes, so just houses, and then multifamily, which is commercial real estate, but focused primarily on just apartment buildings. That's all that means. So what do we do in multifamily? Well, we lend to investors looking to either buy or recapitalize their the commercial properties. So how that works is, well, we have an investor that wants to, say, buy an apartment building in downtown Miami, right? And they come to us and they say like, hey, Freddie Mac, we need X amount of money, 80% leverage, which means just 80% of the value of the property, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They give us their terms, what they want. And then we go through the process of analyzing the property. And then telling them, okay, we're going to lend you on X amount of term, X amount of interest rate, and depending on these financials and this valuation. And then if we win that deal, we essentially push it out throughout the process, and then it ends up in capital markets where they put that into a bond and sell that to investors, which is essentially what we do in single family, but just with commercial properties. Now, within multifamily, if you choose to go through the multifamily analyst program as a college hire, you'll be put into one of three divisions while you're applying to the program. We have three divisions. One is production, as you can see on the screen. The second is underwriting and credit, and the third one is capital markets. Now, these three areas are essentially the process that I just described, where the investor approaches us in production, and in capital markets, we sell those bonds through to other investors. And as a quick overview, like I said, I work in production. So my job is to analyze deals that come in from investors, do cash flow analysis, market analysis, valuation, and win those deals because we're competing with other banks for them. Once we win that deal, underwriting and credit is responsible for completing all of the due diligence for that property, looking at the engineering reports for the property, doing the inspection, like going to the property and looking at it, making sure it's there, right? They go through all of the financial statements from the borrower, from the investor themselves, to make sure that, you know, they have the money to pay it back if the loan goes bad, right? And they get the final approval from our credit committee and ensure that the deal closes. Once that deal closes, the loan goes to capital markets, where they're in charge of making sure that, number one, the loan is serviced. And what that means is that they make sure that the loan gets repaid. They contact, you know, whoever needs to pay the loan and says like, oh, this, you owe this much this month, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're also in charge of pricing the loans on the front end for the production team. So they help me price and give the investor like a good interest rate if we have a lot of banks competing for it, right? They're also in charge of pricing the bonds and securitizing the bonds. I know we threw around that word earlier in capital markets, but securitization, for those of you who don't know, just means grabbing a lot of assets and putting it into a security, which this could be, usually it's a fixed income security. And so imagine 100 loans in one bond. So if you buy that one bond, you're basically getting the return from all of those loans. So that's what capital markets does. And like I mentioned before, once you get your super day at Freddie Mac, once you're doing your interviews, you would choose what division you would like to pursue and what office. So we have offices across the entire United States, on the West Coast and Central. So you can think Chicago, Texas, and Colorado. And then on the East Coast, we have offices in New York, we have offices in Florida, we have offices in DC. So you choose the location, you choose the department, the division you're in, and then we kind of pair you up with what your options are and how they'll essentially do like a draft kind of thing. They'll all sit around and then choose within one another like which candidate they like best, and they'll kind of mix and match. They'll match you to that. It isn't a rotational program. So once you get the offer, if you get an offer in production, you'll be in production. And it's not where you stay 6 months in production, then you go to underwriting, then you go to capital markets. However, a lot of employees that have gone through the college hire program kind of make their own rotational program. A lot of people stay in one division for about a year and then switch to another one after another year, and then switch to another one, right? Which inherently makes you incredibly knowledgeable at Freddie Mac. And usually those are the people that succeed, that do extremely well at the firm, just because they have the knowledge of all of those 3 different divisions, especially in multifamily, which is kind of its own beast, if you will, in the firm. But yeah, if you choose to go choose the multifamily analyst program, you'll gain a lot of skills specifically in multifamily. Learn about the commercial real estate industry and how the CMBS market, CMBS stands for commercial mortgage-backed securities, that CMBS market operates, and learn a lot on how to underwrite a deal, how the deal process, through winning that deal, finishing the due diligence, closing the deal, and a lot of cash flow analysis, market analysis, and it's very fast paced. So you have to multitask a lot. So that you'll also gain a really good, really tough skin for working on a lot of projects at the same time. So yeah, please, if you're interested in the multifamily analyst program or have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. I think my LinkedIn was posted in the chat. Feel free to reach out, and we're happy to connect. As a little bit of added background on myself, I've actually, before moving to Texas, I lived in Mexico for 9 years. So also feel free to reach out in Spanish if you'd like, if that's your first language. I know I felt more comfortable in Texas using that, speaking Spanish at first. So feel free to reach out. And last but absolutely not least, I will pass it on to my friend Vanessa, who will talk to you about the finance division.
Thanks, Joe. Hi, everybody. My name is Vanessa Pereira. I'm currently a cash window professional, so I'm working in investments and capital markets, but I'm here representing finance today because that's how I came into Freddie Mac. I started Freddie Mac in June 2019, so 2 years ago, and I joined through the finance analyst rotation program. It was a great experience, so I'll tell you a little bit more about the program itself and some of the benefits I see there. So in terms of the program, it's a 2-year program and you have 4 rotations, so it's very similar to capital markets where you have 4 6-month rotations. Through the program, you're able to have a greater understanding of finance and accounting. So I would say the majority of the people who join the program are finance majors or accounting majors, but we're not limited to just that. There's people who come from a lot of different backgrounds and not necessarily just from business, but I would say the majority does come from business. And also one thing that I really liked about the finance analyst program is that you get the ability to figure out what you like during the program. While I was in college, I studied finance, international business, and minored in economics. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do in the future. So I thought maybe going into the corporate world would be a good idea and kind of figure things out that way. I was really looking for something like a rotational program where I would be able to experience different things and then figure out what I did like and what I didn't like. And the program is a great way to do that because 6-month rotations are not too long, but they're long enough for you to figure out whether it's something you enjoy to continue in the future or something that you just don't want to experience again. I've had a really good experience through all of my rotations. And also in terms of the rotations, there's 3 different categories of rotations in the program, and you're supposed to do at least 1 rotation in each category so you can get a more diversified feel of what finance is at Freddie Mac. So those 3 categories are closed, reporting, and specialized. Your closed rotation will be more geared towards accounting. Reporting is just what it sounds like. It's more so reporting, financial reporting at the corporate level, and your specialized rotation would be something that doesn't fall under those 2 categories. So that means that it might just be a little bit of a different type of rotation still within the finance division, or it's an opportunity for you to go and experience a different division within Freddie Mac. For my specialized rotation, I actually ended up going to investments in capital markets, experiencing that business there in cash window, and I ended up staying there. So it's been a great experience, and I liked all my rotations. So if I ever want to go back to finance, I was able to meet a lot of people there, and I have enough of a network to go back if I so desire. The program also is really great at helping you build on your hard and soft skills, which I'll go over a little bit more in terms of the benefits because there's some specific programming that we do have for those skills. So for benefits of the program, when you first start, you get a program buddy, which will be another analyst in the program who's gone through at least 1 or 2 more, rotations before you joined. So they're a little bit more experienced and they can guide you through the process of first starting off at Freddie Mac, starting off in the program. Any questions you have, they're very cool. They're just like you, so they can answer any questions and you feel more comfortable being able to speak to them. Then you also get a mentor from the steering committee, which the steering committee, they're the people who are in charge of the program. They're the ones who help you pick out your rotations. They're also the ones who hired you. So you at least get a good relationship with one of them, and you're able to explain things about what you'd like in the future. They can answer any questions about the program itself. And then we also have mentorship circles where different people from across the division will join, and you can ask any questions about their career journeys and learn more about what they do. It's a great way to network as well with people who are higher up in the company. So some of these might be actual senior leaders, some might be managers, directors, so it ranges a lot. But it's a great opportunity to get more exposure there. And so that brings me to my next bullet, where you're able to network across the finance division through mentorship circles, but also through your rotations themselves. When you go to a different team, you really get to know the team, your manager, all the people on your team, and then sometimes even people outside of your team in your general department. So by doing that, you're able to network, learn more about what the general department does, and keep them in your contacts in case that's something that really interests you for the future. After the program, you can probably go back to that area and work there full time. And then those hard and soft skills I was talking about kind of fall into this third bullet with our technical and learning series sessions. We have 2 types of sessions. So the technical would be something more geared towards learning a technical skill like Python, SQL, VBA, things like that we've had in the past. But as each session comes, there's always something new. that can also cover things like, building your resume now that you have a program where you've had 6 different rotations and how to put that in your resume. And then we also have learning series sessions where we have guest speakers speak about their area of business. It's a little bit different than a mentorship circle, but in some ways it's a bit similar because you can also ask them about their career journey and how they got to where they are now. But it's more so geared for you to learn more about the area that they're currently in to see if it's something that can interest you for the future. And the last bullet for the finance analyst program here, there is some overlap with other business areas. As I mentioned, I went into capital markets. There's also opportunities to experience other areas like single family, IT. I think there's a multifamily rotation as well. So it's really a great program where you're not just limited to finances, and I took advantage of that experience. So I really liked my experience there. I met a lot of people through your cohort. You meet everybody who joins with you, but we also have a lot of events where you can meet the people who have done 1 rotation, 2 rotations, 3 rotations already. The cohort itself of all analysts, not just the ones that you started with, it can be pretty large. So it's another great way to network and meet more people your age. And then this last benefit here is more of a Freddie Mac general benefit that I just wanted to mention, because regardless of what program you would join, if you do join Freddie Mac, you'll be able to take advantage of this. So a lot of people do this. They get Freddie Mac to pay for them to go back to school. A lot of people in the finance program, and I think also the capital markets program, they take the CFA. So Freddie Mac can pay for that too, or they can help you buy a home. I took advantage of that last benefit. I just bought my first home and Freddie Mac paid for all of my closing costs. So it was really helpful in getting me into that next step of being able to afford a home. And then just to end this off, another big benefit that I really want to emphasize in Freddie Mac are our BRGs, which stands for Business Resource Groups. And it's basically just groups that would be pretty much like a community at Freddie Mac, and where you can meet a lot of people. And it's been super important during these last 2 years where we've been remote because of COVID, and in order to be safe, it's better to be remote. But it's been a great way to meet a lot of people virtually and still feel connected with your community. And also BRGs have a great purpose of giving you the opportunity to network across the company as well. I mentioned networking so many times because it's so important. In the finance analyst program, you're able to network, but BRGs really open up your networking pool, and you get to meet a lot of other people. So for me, I took advantage of BRGs at Freddie Mac. I'm a part of almost all of them, but the biggest one I am the most involved with is OLA, which is our Latino BRG at Freddie Mac. I'm actually on our leadership team along with Joe, who just spoke right before me. And we both work on our attract pillar, which is basically attracting people to our BRG internally and externally. So we're going to be doing a lot of sessions where we can meet students, and one of these is what I'm currently doing right now. So hopefully I can meet a lot of you guys afterwards. Please feel free to reach out to me through LinkedIn. I'm also probably going to be reaching out to you guys later on, and I hope we can get to know each other. And then I just wanted to end this off with just one more benefit of a BRG. For Freddie Mac, last year, we really kicked off this attraction externally with college hires. And there were a bunch of people that we were able to get hired at Freddie Mac through those recruitment, through that recruitment process. And now we have a new program called Latinos in Transition, where we're able to develop the people who got hired through us, really get to know them and invest in them. And that just kicked off now, and so far they're having a great experience. They're learning about Freddie Mac, they're learning about a lot of different things. And so it's something that you could probably take advantage of too if you join Freddie Mac. So thanks everybody for hearing me out. And one more shout out, my Bolivian flag there on the top right. My family is from Bolivia. So if there's any Bolivians on the call, feel free to reach out to me and we can talk more about it. But that's all I have for now. So I'll hand it back over to Jessica. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Vanessa, and thank you everyone else for joining us and sharing your experience and how it went through for your internship experience, right? So thank you all once again. And we're now moving on to the Q&A portion of the session. So if you have any questions, please submit them in the Q&A window found at the bottom of the Zoom bar. We will be going through those questions and asking them to our audience. So I would like to take this opportunity to ask everyone to please turn their mics, especially their cameras on, so that we can have more of a conversation and answer these questions together. So I know Claire, who's on the talent acquisitions at Freddie Mac, has been doing a great job on getting those responses into all those questions that you all have. So to get us started, I do want to ask each and one of you, do you have any tips to those joining us today on how to make their application strong? So I don't know, Joseph, Vanessa, Aisha, either one of you want to take this question?
I can go ahead and start it off for now. One of my tips is that you should really pay attention to what you're applying to. So when you're building out your resume, I wouldn't necessarily use the same resume for every job description. I'll look at the job description, see what it's asking for, see what skills they're looking for, and if you have any of those skills, really emphasize them in your resume. So cater it to the job description for sure. And then another piece of advice I would give that I saw helped me out a bit. I know there's a lot of jobs where cover letters are not necessary. It's an optional choice. I would recommend making that effort and submitting a cover letter because it'll make you stand out with versus the other people who didn't submit a cover letter.
I'll jump in there. I agree with everything Vanessa said. Definitely great points. Definitely, update your resume. Make sure that you're creating a resume tailored to the job description. Add those things. Update them if you don't have this. Then maybe if the job description is asking for certain skills, if you have those skills, definitely highlight that in your resume. Don't put anything you don't have skills in. So especially for, I would say, for the technology jobs, if they're asking, do you have Python, but you don't know anything about Python, please don't put Python on your resume because you'll probably be asked about Python. And I don't want anyone to be at a disadvantage. It's okay to say you don't know, but just don't put anything on your resume that you make a question about later. But yeah, definitely add stuff that you do. Especially for the technology jobs, put your technology skills, what languages do you know? What tools do you know? What project methodologies do you know? Anything kind of, even add in some of the projects that you've dealt with or added or have done in school or your intern experience. Your intern experience is really good too, especially since we know you don't have like real corporate America or real corporate jobs. Your intern experience is okay. And if you don't have intern experience, that's okay too. Definitely adding your projects, anything you've worked on that can show your skills towards that job description. So like Vanessa was saying, anything that will highlight that, and that could be projects or internships.
Yeah, and I'll just jump in real quick with maybe some more general, I guess, resume advice. So kind of the way that I always think about structuring your bullet points when you're trying to convey like what some of your experiences are is like, I think it's really, really helpful to kind of say like what you did, like how you did it, and then what was the overall benefit of like you stepping in and doing this, right? So, and then if you can quantify things, I think like putting numbers behind your experiences is always something that's helpful. So that's something that really catches our eye and also kind of shows like sound sentence structure too. So communication, it's just a really kind of fluid and easy way to kind of convey your experiences.
Perfect. Does anyone else want to chime
with what
in?
everybody said for sure? I'm sorry, what's that? Oh yeah.
Go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, number one, I agree with everything. You have to tailor your resume for each position, and you have to quantify. And the I don't know if y'all have heard the STAR method. It's like the situation, the task, the action, and the result. Like, what was it? What'd you do? And how'd you help? My personal advice is we always talk about how to make an application strong and a resume strong and a cover letter strong, right? But the strongest way to like help your application go forward is to network as much as you can, to know, to not to know like, oh, my dad knows somebody at Freddie Mac. No, but in panels like these, right? Like you have our LinkedIn's, you're talking to us, like, our names. Our email formats are similar, right? First name, last name, like you can shoot us an email, right? So networking with people, with employees during events like these, that's what really gives your resume that extra kick, right? Because not only are you doing what we said before, you already know somebody there who could help you navigate the application process, but can also, not only that, but can also say, oh, Joe, I'm interested in multifamily, but I want to do underwriting. Well, I'm in production, but I know a lot of people in underwriting. So I can introduce you to a lot of people in underwriting. If you're interested in capital markets, like Alec knows a lot of people in capital markets because he did the rotation program, right? So I think that would be my advice to add on to everything that everybody said before.
Mine would also be to just have like 2 people review your resume or cover letters. I once made the mistake of not doing that, and I submitted like half of a cover letter. And when I found out, I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? So I think like just having someone review your cover letters and resumes, it can make it a lot stronger too. Preferably like if you have a professor or someone already like in the corporate world, that would really help a lot.
Thank you so much all for giving the wonderful tips, and definitely want to highlight Joseph's advice that connecting with everyone on LinkedIn, they all share their LinkedIn, so please make sure to connect with them. And the next question I do have is from Sofia Mendina. She asks, I was very interested in the capital markets rotational program as well as the single family and multifamily program. I am majoring in finance and in real estate. What do you think will be a better fit? So I know we have a couple people here from wearing different hats, so I'll defer to you all on who wants to answer first.
I can go ahead and just maybe a follow-up. I would think about, okay, well, what is it that you enjoy more, right? Like there are more technical roles that really, you're diving deep into, like you're coding a lot, for instance, right? Or you're really thinking about like bigger picture macroeconomic trends, say like in the secondary mortgage market, right? Or are you interested in commercial real estate, and like do you want to be maybe like long term, do you want to be a developer, and how apartment buildings like work out, like, well, okay, like in multifamily, like we directly deal with those, like you really learn about that. So it really depends on what you'd like to focus on. That would be my like follow-up question. I think the box saying that she'd like to answer the question. Oh, never mind. Sorry, I misread something. But
Yeah, and I'll just chime in quickly. I mean, for speaking on behalf of capital markets, I mean, really we're just looking for like smart people. Like you could be an engineering major, or you could be like biology major or something like that, right? I mean, all this stuff is teachable, right? And everyone kind of comes in like, maybe you have some finance background, you majored in finance, like, but that only gets you like a certain percentage of the way there, and you may have a little bit of a head start, but that's ground that you can easily make up. So I wouldn't say necessarily just because like, oh, I'm in finance and oh, I'm in real estate, like which one do I pick? Because really, like, at least from our perspective, you could be a variety of different majors: econ, math, engineering, bio, like whatever. And we would be happy to take you on, just if you're able to convey that you're hardworking, you have interest in the space, this is something that you want to do, you want to contribute towards the mission, capital markets is something you're interested in, just things like that. So that's my 2 cents on it.
As a quick follow-up on that, my previous deal team lead was an English major. So if that gives a fair example of that.
Thank you so much, Alec and Joseph. I know we had a similar question and you both answered them. So I'll move on to the next one. So what advice would you give your younger self as you began the internship? And this could be to anyone. I don't know if Laura, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, it would be really, I guess, not limit myself. I feel like a lot of it had to do with my personality, and sometimes I feel like there's this misconception that you have to be an extrovert to work in corporate America, and you really don't. I always thought of myself as an introvert, right? So I really thought I was at a disadvantage in corporate America, but I would just say to not limit myself and just try to learn as much as I can. I didn't do the internship program. I was I graduated, I got the full-time offer. So I didn't really have an internship program my junior year. So I also thought I was at a disadvantage there. Just really be to learn a lot about Freddie Mac's business. How does your team impact the overall business of Freddie Mac, right? It's really important to learn, and you may not know all of it in the first couple of months, but then for me, it started clicking probably a few months after, and I was like, oh, this is how my job impacts overall the overall business of Freddie.
Yeah, and I can speak a little bit to the, I guess, more internship experience. And this is actually something that we we kind of talk about a lot over in capital markets, right? What are the best qualities that we're looking for in an intern, right? You're probably not going to totally change the business or revolutionize the business in your 10 weeks, right? So what are we really looking for out of you in 10 weeks? And the character trait that we kind of always end up coming back to is just your curiosity, right? That is the main driver for fostering your own learning and development. So just relentlessly kind of reading, researching, asking questions, asking good questions too, and understanding and gaining understanding and demonstrating that understanding kind of all just flows back through how curious are you and how willing are you to read up on just go in rabbit holes, right? Maybe the information's not totally relevant to you, but then maybe further down the line in the internship it does become relevant to you. So I would just say that looking back, that was the one thing I wish I would give advice to, because now I'm in the seat now where we work with interns all the time, and I kind of see that drive in them, and I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of wish I had a little bit of that or at least a little bit more in that in me when I was going through the process.
So I actually wasn't an intern at Freddie Mac before joining full time, but a really good piece of advice that I got that serves you in really any role, not just at Freddie Mac, is, and Alec mentioned, is to ask questions. Ask as many questions as you can. The first month, the rule that I was given was, as an intern or even as a full-time, was that in the very beginning of your internship, you're not really expected to know that much. So ask all of the dumb questions, quote unquote, that you want to ask, right? There really are no dumb questions, but ask all of them. Be resourceful, of course, try to figure it out a little bit on your own first, but ask a lot of questions, and try to not ask the same question twice. And in parentheses, I always tell new hires or analysts that I'm training is don't ask the same question twice to the same person, right? Because they'll remember. But if you miss it or something, just ask a different person the same question. They'll probably give you the same perspective or maybe something different that'll help build the puzzle of what you're trying to understand. And always carry during my first 6 months on the job, I would carry this notebook that had all of my notes, just everything that I learned when I was shadowing, I would jot it down. And as an intern or a new hire, that's extremely important because you want to make sure that you're absorbing as much information as you can, but that you also, remember it. And that's what the notebook is for. Later on, I digitized it. I actually have it in a Word document, and I look at it probably every day. So and it gets bigger and bigger. I think it's like 8 pages now. So that would be my piece of advice. You know, a little notebook and ask questions. Don't ask the same question twice, but to the same person, you know.
Thank you, Joseph. And I know, Vanessa, you unmuted yourself. I think you wanted to share too.
Yeah, just something really quick. I also didn't do my internship at Freddie Mac, but this is like a little bit more further removed. I would say just like Laura, I was a first generation college student. And so I wasn't able to ask my parents about this process and kind of get guidance on that in that sense. I think it would be something I wish I did when I was still in school was to find more people that could mentor me that went through the process already. They could mentor me while I'm in my internship or while I'm applying to internships, or even guide me and tell me, you know what, Vanessa, maybe you should apply for internships even as a freshman, because it doesn't hurt to do it, right? And if you get an internship, then you're one step ahead of someone else. I didn't have an internship my freshman year. I didn't have an internship my sophomore year. And it was really hard for me to get an internship my junior year. But once I had that experience, it was a little bit easier to get a full-time role. So I would say really look for someone who can mentor you and take care of you and basically guide you through the process, because I would have found a lot of value in that if I had that.
Thank you. And the last question we have here is from Kayla is, what was your experience working with Freddie Mac while in school? Did they work with your schedules in a way that was not overwhelming? I'm not sure who would like to take that first. I know, Vanessa, you spoke about a little bit about, I don't think you mentioned you were doing Freddie Mac while you were in school, but any additional feedback you can provide to Kayla would be helpful.
Yeah, I think, you know, at any company, I would assume that they would work with their schedule, because you're a student first, right? You need to graduate in order to get a full-time role. So it's just all about communication. I think as long as you communicate with your manager, whoever you're working with, if it's a specific type of program, communicate your availability, because you don't want to be too tied up either. You want to do well in school. So really take it. I would just say communication is the most important thing here, really. You should be able to do both at the same time, but you need to space it out and think about how you're gonna be able to, you know, go to your classes, do well on all your exams, but also get some benefits from your internship.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Vanessa. And if there's any other way that Freddie Mac has worked with your schedule, if you've had any other things going on in your life that you would like to share, that'll be helpful to share here as well. I know that, you know, at least here at HHF, you know, we all have lives outside of work as well. And I know it's always helpful to know that when a company is willing to work, they appreciate the employee. And it sounds like if at Freddie Mac, that's exactly what the case is. I know, Vanessa, you shared a lot of, you know, the benefits and how they've helped you outside of work. And so, you know, where do I apply, right? So everyone make sure that you apply and you do not miss the deadlines. That is on August 2nd. And Teresa from our team will make sure to be communicating you after today to send all the details along with Sarah, who is someone who made this possible and gathered all of our speakers today. So that is the last of the questions we have for today. I want to thank again Vanessa, Joseph, Alec, Aisha, Laura, and of course, Sarah and Claire, who are in the background answering your questions, for making this possible. And of course, our HHF team. And if you all have any questions at all, Teresa Cronin, who's on the line, who you all been working with, will make sure to stay in communication with you and follow up on best next steps. Thank you all so much and have a great rest of your day.